Jam Butty Boy is the reluctant fell runner. Episode 12. Biting off more than you can chew.
"How are you fixed for tonight after work? For a little trot out?" he said.
"I didn't know you were back in circulation," said JB.
"What do you mean?"
said Camo. "After you split with Sharon," said JB.
"Oh, that's old hat that now," he said. "That's all behind us. I've almost forgot it happened. No, we agreed. I'd build up to give the Norbert a go at the end of this summer, and then that would be it. I'll put it behind me, whether I make it round or whether I don't. So this year she's on board with it. Everything is tickety-boo like, to give it a go for this year. Mind you, I think if I dragged it on like this with so much time commitment, she'd put her foot down then."
"Oh, right," said JB. I was all set to be going out with Chewy tonight for a one-up at Duffa. You know Robert Chewy? Chewy from work."
"Oh, Chewy," said Camo. "You finally got him to come out?"
Yeah," said JB. "He's been asking about it. I told him hill training on Duffa would be good for his rugby fitness. If I showed him where it was and the route up, then he could go and do it whenever he wanted."
"Oh, that'll be good if we can get him into it," said Camo. "Me, Yorkshire and Three Coats will tag along if you don't mind. We'll all go up Duffa then."
"Are you sure?" said JB. "He's never done any hills before. He's a bit nervous about it. We were just going to do one up and leave it at that. Get him into it slowly. Won't that be a bit too little for you guys with all your Norbert training?"
"No, it'll be fine," he said. "We were not planning on anything big tonight. I've not been doing much, remember. A little one up of 1,000 feet will be just the job. What time were you planning on going up?"
"I'm picking him up from the estate roundabout at 6. So setting off from mine at 10 to," said JB.
"Tell you what," said Camo. "You pick me up at 1:45 then. Yorkshire and Three Coats will make their own way from theirs in one of their cars. I'll tell them we'll see them up there about 6:10.
"Are you sure they'll be happy with just a one-up?" said JB.
"Well, they can crack on if they want to, can't they?" said Camo. "I'll come back with you and Chewy, if that's all right."
"OK," said JB. "I'll pick you up at 6:15 then."
"Brilliant," he said, and the phone clicked.
JB picked up Camo and they went for Chewy. He was already waiting, leaning on a brick wall at the roundabout leading off to the estate.
"OK, Chewy," said
Camo.
"Mind if I join you?"
"Oh, no, of course not," said Chewy, getting in the car. "Long time no see."
"Yeah, how's it going?" said Camo.
Yeah, all right. Work's boring, said Chewy. You?
"Oh, I don't talk about work when I don't have to be there," said Camo.
"Yeah, best way," said Chewy. "We're meeting a couple of other lads up there too," said JB. "I told them we were just going to do a one-up, so they might carry on and do more after." "Oh, okay, whatever," said Chewy.
"You're going to love it up there," said Camo.
I hope so," said Chewy. I'm a bit rusty. I've not done any fitness for ages like, and I've never done hills, all those hills."
"Nothing to it,"
said Camo. "I've not got much gear for this. Gear," said Chewy. "Just old trainers and top and shorts from me rugby. Top and shorts. Will that be all right? All right?"
"That'll be fine," said Camo. "Duffa is gentle hill training, and there's no rain forecast or anything."
Gentle training," said Chewy. "I'll bet. Don't forget, I've never done height. You know height."
"No, I don't mean that," said Camo. "It's a bit steep in places, so it will give you a good workout. What I mean is that it's safe underfoot. The local lord has put in a nice cinder track for his game shooting that we fell runners have appropriated for our training. No, when you go on the proper big fells, you'll need some proper gear then. Proper fell shoes for grip and a good rainproof top for the weather that you get up there.
Ooh, hang on, said Chewy, laughing nervously. I know what you like, Camo. I've not done this one yet. Let me get this one done and see how I feel about it. I know you lot go out on weekends. I'm still in my rugby, so I couldn't make that. Can't make the weekends.
Oh, you're gonna love it, said Camo. You've got the physique and the fitness perfect for it. And with age on your side, you're gonna get better and better.
Oh, we'll see, he said, looking a bit nervous. I think you'll like Duffa as a training hill, said JB. Wait till you see it. Peacocks at the bottom near the gamekeeper's cottage, little stream, nice cinder path all the way to the top, loads of grouse and pheasants about, and 1,000 feet of climb to get your stamina training. Yeah, you said, sounds good, said Chewy. There it is, said JB, pointing at the hill in the distance. We're going all the way up that, he said. You're kidding. That's huge, that is.
Oh, that's a piddly little one, said Camo. Wait till you see the cowgirls, and then the big ones in the lakes. We'll soon have you going up them.
Chewy looked out of the window at the hill. You'll be fine, said JB. Honestly, it's just a nice cinder path up, and we can turn back at any point. They arrived at the bottom and parked up in a parking or passing place in the narrow single-track road. Yorkshire and Three Coats were already there, parked up a little further down.
The lads are already here, said Camo.
They got out of the car and JB locked up.
Little trot,
said Camo, setting off towards the others. Bloody hell, said Chewy to JB. We're off already. As it was JB that had brought him, he felt responsible for him. Yes, they don't hang about, he said. It's usually me at the back all the way around, with them giving me stares to hurry up and looking at me like a disappointed dad. It's a bit chilly like, he said. Yeah, said JB. You've not got the best gear for it, but we're only going up and down. If the weather comes in, we can just head back down, so you'll be all right. Sound, he said. Yorkshire and Three Coats were out of their car waiting for them. Camo arrived first, and then JB and Chewy together.
Well, hello there,
said Yorkshire, going up to Chewy and shaking his hand.
Camo tells me it's your first time out on the fells.
Yeah, said Chewy. Looking forward to it.
Good, said Yorkshire. Perhaps we have a potential new member of our little club, the Lungsdale Fell Running Association.
We'll see, said Chewy.
And Jam Butty, of course,
said Yorkshire, shaking his hand.
I see you are running in the buff again.
Yes, said JB. I always run in the buff in winter.
Warms the breath, he mimicked.
It does, said JB.
He loves running in the buff, you know,
Yorkshire said to Chewy.
One of his little foibles.
I can recommend it, said JB.
Idiot,
said Three Coats.
No, surprise,
said Yorkshire, brandishing a buff from his pocket.
Today I'm going to try running in the buff too.
Hooray, said JB.
You what?
said Three Coats.
Well, said Yorkshire, after you sneezing all over us and you giving me your cold the other week, running in the buff might be just the ticket.
I couldn't help it, said Three Coats. Everyone gets colds.
JB doesn't with his buff,
said Yorkshire.
People with colds should be shot,
said Camo.
or if not shot, they should at least stay home.
Three Coats was put out. Chewy started to look a little cold. Let's get going to keep warm, said JB. Chewy doesn't have any winter gear yet. Yorkshire put his buff on as everyone set off.
Put your soul to the gravel,
said Three Coats, twisting the vowel in gravel to try to rhyme with soul.
No, doesn't work,
said Yorkshire.
Oh, come on, guys,
said Three Coats.
I've been waiting for that one all week. Let me have a saying. We've got Camos, put the leather to the heather. JB's, let's go get the thrills on the hills. Yorkshire's, to the clouds and back. I'm the only one without a saying. Come up with a good one then,
said Yorkshire. What's all this? What's all this? Said Chewy, smiling.
Oh, the boys like to come up with a little ditty at the start,
said Yorkshire.
Good for morale. Not good for morale if you can't think of one,
said Three Coats. But you have got one, remember, said JB. Let's go get the smell on the fell. Everyone shouted it together.
Let's go get the smell on the fell.
Let's go get the smell on the fell.
What's that about? Said Chewy, smiling.
I meant the fresh air,
said Three Coats.
The smell of fresh air.
They went past the peacocks and the picturesque gamekeeper's cottage, with the dogs in the pound at the back barking, and crossed the stream onto the cinder path. This is an ace place, it's ace, said Chewy. You say this path goes all the way up to the top? Yeah, said JB. You're right, he said. This'd be perfect it would for fitness training. Told you, said JB.
I think we've got a new convert, Camo,
said Yorkshire.
Excellent,
said Camo, striding ahead at the front. They made their way up the hill, and JB settled at the back to keep an eye on Chewy and make sure he was all right. He was walking with Yorkshire and Three Coats and seemed to be doing really well. He's only just started, and he seems to be doing really well, thought JB. Maybe he will blow up after a while. If not, it must just be me who's not very good at this. And I know, said Chewy out loud. What about, push for the adrenaline rush?
Not bad,
said Yorkshire.
I like your style.
Oh no, said Three Coats.
Even the newbie has one now.
I've got another, said Chewy.
Ain't no cheaters at 1,000 metres.
Ooh, I like that one, said Yorkshire.
A double meaning on the word cheater. The animal and the sinful behaviour. Like it.
Ain't no cheaters at 1,000 metres,
said Camo, stomping ahead at the front.
And another, said Chewy. You need the right attitude. At altitude, said Chewy. And another. Ain't no sin where we have been. And another. It can rain, but we feel no pain. All right, shouted Three Coats, stomping hard on the cinder path. I get it. I'm rubbish at it, okay?
Everyone shouted together, including the newbie.
Let's go get the smell on the fell.
Let's go get the smell on the fell.
Let's go get the smell on the fell.
Way! Way! As they walked up the steep section, Chewy was relaxed and having a lot of boyish banter with the others. Every time they came to a flatter section, Camo would shout,
Little trot!
And everyone would start to jog until the next little steep section, where he would shout,
Hill!
And everyone would drop back down to a walk.
Are you up for a trip to the Cowgirls Sunday morning?
Said Camo to JB. Sure, he said. What time?
Pick you up at the usual, 5:30,
said Camo. OK, said JB.
How about you?
Said Camo to Chewy.
Fancy the cowgirls this Sunday?
Well, not the weekend, he said. I've got the rugby, remember? I've got rugby.
Let you off then,
Camo laughed. As they were going up the hill, the naked camper was being frog-marched down the hill by the gamekeeper. He had his hands in handcuff behind his back. JB hurried forward and stood with Camo.
What's going on?
Said Camo. Is he being arrested for being in the nude? Said JB. No, said the gamekeeper, putting his hat in front of the naked camper to protect his modesty.
No,
said Camo and JB together. No, we've got here our poacher, said the gamekeeper, jabbing towards the naked camper with the thumb of his free hand.
Poacher?
Said Camo and JB together. Yes, said the gamekeeper, and it was you two gave me the idea.
Us two? Us two?
Said Camo and JB. Yes, you two. Every time I asked you if you've seen a poacher, you told me the only person you saw was this fella.
Oh, sorry, naked camper,
said Camo.
Didn't mean to drop you in it.
I admit it,
said the naked camper.
I love game birds, and I would have gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for you pesky kids.
Scooby-Doo,
said JB and Camo together, looking at each other.
Oh yeah, that's right,
said the naked camper, laughing. Suddenly, with the distraction, he tried to make a quick getaway, but with his hands handcuffed behind his back, he face-planted into the heather. His backside went high towards his head, with his legs all akimbo. For a split second he was well hung there, and then he toppled back down.
Ugh,
said JB.
Ooh,
said Camo.
That's got to hurt,
said Yorkshire.
Not a lot of protection there,
said Three Coats.
I'm all right,
said the naked camper, getting back to his feet. The gamekeeper grabbed hold of him by the arm behind his back.
Let's be having you, lad,
he said. I think you need your arms free, mate, to be able to run properly, said JB, demonstrating swinging his arms.
I think you're right,
he said.
You're the experts.
Oh no, I don't know about that, said JB modestly.
No hard feelings, chaps,
said the naked camper.
Not your fault I got caught. I got greedy and stayed around too much. Like he said, there's been no one else up here all this time. It had to be me. I love those game birds.
Sorry, naked camper, said JB.
It's okay. The name's Mike, by the way,
he said.
Okay, sorry, Mike,
said JB and Camo.
No worries,
said Mike.
Do you think they'll do me pheasants in the clink?
Come on, you,
said the gamekeeper, frog marching him down the hill.
Well, does this happen all the time?
said Chewy, watching him go. Never, said JB.
No one's been arrested for poaching for 200 years,
said Camo.
Well, that was exciting,
said Yorkshire, turning back to their climb. Three Coats sucked in a breath, ready for another attempt at a motto. Camo turned at him and looked at him directly in the eye.
Don't bother,
he said.
Okay,
said Three Coats in a strange voice as he tried to hold his breath. Soon they were at the top.
Right, this is the top. You've done it like Chewy,
said Camo.
Is that it? Is that it?
said Chewy. He was a little out of breath, but he was very happy and relieved.
I thought it was going to be a lot worse than that. I can't believe I did it. That easy. It's a good workout, mind you.
Well done, said JB. That's it. That's the hill.
Yeah, you're right. That will be good for training, that. For your training,
said Chewy.
Are you ready to go a little further then?
Said Camo.
You're doing ace. You don't want to stop now that you're here. Just push on a little.
I'm up for that. I'm up for that,
said Chewy, full of confidence now. If JB doesn't mind, he brought me up here. How much further were you thinking about?
Oh, as far as you want,
said Camo.
These lads will go as far as you like. But it's flatter now, so a couple of miles and then turn back.
Okay, said Chewy. If you don't mind, he said to JB. I don't mind, said JB. But remember, it's downhill a bit from here, and you'll have to come back up it, so for every step out, you're going to have to budget for the same step coming back up. You've not got the gear on that these lads have, so you'll have to tell them if you start getting cold.
He's all right,
said Camo.
You worry too much, Jam Butty. You're like a mother hen with him. He's doing great. Better than you did when you first come out. Leave the lad alone to make his own mind up.
Camo set off laughing and joking with Chewy and Yorkshire. Three Coats came past him smiling.
You got told off, ha ha ha,
he said in a sing-song voice. The other side of the hill dropped down much slower than what they had come up on, and Chewy was laughing and running fine. Perhaps I do worry too much, thought JB. Maybe other people just find it easier than I do, and he has done all that rugby training, and he is half my age. I hope he doesn't blow up. Camo and Yorkshire took him further and further out over the high moorland. It started gently snowing. The sky turned battleship grey. The air went still, and large snowflakes fell gently. Everyone stopped for a moment to enjoy them.
Oh, this is amazing,
said Chewy.
It's the height,
said Camo.
Thick snow here, but there will be nothing, or hardly anything, at the bottom of the hill, and people in town will not be aware of it unless they bother to take a glance at the snow-capped mountains.
It's like Christmas,
said Chewy. The snow was beginning to stick to the ground. JB saw Chewy have a quick shiver. You okay? Said JB.
Fine, he said. It's just a bit cold when you stop, isn't it? Cold.
Not fussing again, are you, mother hen?
Said Camo.
Leave the poor lad alone. He's smashing it.
Remember, he's not got the same gear on we have, said JB.
It's all right, it's all right, said Chewy. I told JB to look after me, knowing you lot were all experienced fell runners, but I'm fine, honestly. See?
Said Three Coats. The wind started to pick up, and the snow turned to smaller flakes that were thrown about more. The sky went darker. JB had a sense of foreboding. He says he's okay, he thought to himself. So what can you do? With the wind picking up and the driving snow, everyone just got their heads down and ran without speaking. Hang on, thought JB. This is getting a bit silly now. Camo and Yorkshire were at the front pushing on, with Three Coats just behind. Chewy had dropped back and was plodding along by himself. JB had kept himself at the back to keep an eye on him. We really need to be setting off back, thought JB. He sped up and ran closer to Chewy to see how he's getting on. Chewy was frowning and concentrating hard to keep going. His lips had a blue tinge and his face had turned grey. How you doing? Said JB. Are you ready to turn back?
I'm all right, he said. Just a little cold.
The The snow was being driven into their faces now. The snowflakes were really like little stones of ice, and if they hit you on the eyeball, they hurt. JB squinted to keep them out.
When do you think we're going to be turning back? Said Chewy over the wind.
JB noticed there was the beginnings of a stiff hobble to his running. He's going to blow up, thought JB. That means you want to go back, said JB.
No, I was just wondering, said Chewy. I'd be better if I had the right gear on. The wind is funneling right up my thighs perfectly to hit the tip of my knob. I think I'm going to get chilblains of the knob. I hope I don't get frostbite of my bell end.
JB laughed. I'm laughing, but it's not funny really, he said.
I need a pee, but I don't want to lose its warmth, said Chewy. I think I'm gonna stop, just to check everything's all right down there.
I think it's time to go back, said JB. You take a piss and I'll go tell 'em. Chewy stopped by the side of the track and JB shouted to the others. Hey fellas, Camo, Yorkie, Three Coats, he shouted. Hang on a minute, will you? The three of them stopped, but did not come back down the track. I'll go and tell 'em, said JB to Chewy.
Okay, said Chewy. I can't find my knob here. It's disappeared up inside of me. I've suddenly got a belly button innie, not an outie.
JB laughed.
Oh, there it is, thank God. Bloody hell, the end is frozen.
JB looked back to see him massaging himself.
That's ecstasy and agony, both at the same time, that is.
Time to get you back, shouted JB.
I think it is,
said Chewy. JB ran down the track to the other three. He needs to go back, said JB.
Here he goes again,
said Three Coats. No, he does, said JB. He said so himself now.
Only because you've been into him, no doubt,
said Camo.
He was fine when I was with him.
You're too negative, you are,
said Yorkshire. JB bit back on his anger. You're wrong, he said. Go and take a look at him if you don't believe me. Remember, he doesn't have the winter clothes you have on. He's just got a top and shorts on.
It's April,
said Three Coats.
It's not December or January.
What's that got to do with it? Said JB, holding his hands out wide. It's snowing, isn't it? It's blowing a gale and it's bloody freezing.
These lads want to go to the other gamekeeper's cottage and do a full up and over for their training,
said Camo. No chance he can do that. That's 14 mile, said JB. He was only supposed to do a quick one up of the first hill and go back, and you've dragged him out all this way out here.
Hey, he wanted to,
said Yorkshire.
I'll take a look at him,
said Camo. The group of them walked towards Chewy, who turned around from his ablutions. Chewy's face was blue and his lips dark blue. He was shivering, and most disconcerting, he had giant sticky-out nipples pushing from his shirt.
Bloody hell,
said Yorkshire.
Are you hiding a couple of 6-inch nails?
What?
said Chewy. Everyone stared.
They're looking at me,
said Three Coats.
Yeah, and they follow your eyes,
said Camo, moving his head from side to side.
They'd put your eye out, them.
What's up?
said Chewy. Blue tits, said JB. Chewy looked down and then covered his modesty.
Yeah, I'm bloody freezing, he said.
No, blue tits, said JB, pointing at a pair of twittering birds on a bare branch of a tree.
Oh, right, all right,
said Chewy.
Are you okay? to carry on, or has JB been putting doubts in your head?
Said Camo.
There's a gamekeeper's cottage about another 4 mile down this track. We call it an up and over. If you do that, you will have done 14 mile and 2,000 feet, which, for your first time out, will be amazing.
No, said JB. I'm calling it. He needs to get off here right now. Look at him. He's shivering and he's turning blue.
Oh, you're calling it, are you?
Said Yorkshire, bristling.
All by yourself? Who died and put you in charge?
Said Three Coats. Well, it's quite simple, said JB in a quiet, calm voice. But you three can go and fuck yourselves right off, because I'm taking him back right now. Yorkshire and Three Coats were just about to speak, but saw the look on JB's face.
Thanks, Camo,
said Chewy, shaking and shivering.
I've had a really nice time, but I think I'll leave that for next time.
OK,
said Camo.
if that's what you want to do.
It is,
said Chewy. He's playing it cool, thought JB, but he's desperate to get back to the car and get warm. Can they not see he's stopping himself shivering just so they don't feel bad? Why can't they see it? They're too focused on what they want to do. I'm so annoyed. Camo turned to Yorkshire and Three Coats.
Is it OK if I get a lift back with you guys?
He said.
Of course, Camo,
said Three Coats.
I'll drop you off, no problem.
I'm going with these guys,
said Camo.
if that's all right with you.
Fine, said JB.
I'll give you a ring,
said Camo. That's the kiss-off right there, thought JB. He's not going to ring. He'll be off training with them more now after this. They set off forward, and JB and Chewy went back the other. When the others had gone, Chewy stopped hiding how much he was shivering. Right, said JB. This might feel horrible, but we've got to get the speed up a little to get your temperature up.
Yeah,
he said, his teeth chattering.
Thanks for that. I think if I would have carried on, I would have frozen to death. To death. I hope they've not fallen out with you over it.
Don't worry about that. Screw 'em, said JB. They should have seen you turning blue. Let's get you back to the car. When we start coming down the hill, it'll start getting warmer then. It was a long way back, and Chewy suffered. He did not get any colder, but neither did he get any warmer, and JB was concerned. He was not a healthy colour, and was really tired and struggling to keep up.
I've never been so happy to see a car, said Chewy. Can we get that heater on?
Of course, said JB. He got the engine running, put the heater on, and got going double quick.
I know the heater's on, said Chewy, but I can't stop shivering.
Right, said JB. My place is nearer. We'll go there and get you warmed up first.
Are you sure?
Said Chewy, shivering. He must be bad, thought JB. He's not putting up a fight. They hurried into his house. This is Chewy, said JB. The lads took him a bit far out. It started to snow and he got cold. We need to get him warmed up. Oh, he does look cold, she said, a look of concern on her face. Could you put the kettle on? Said JB. I think the quickest way to warm him up is to get him into a warm shower. Right, she said, going into the kitchen. Come on, you, said JB, dragging Chewy along.
Okay,
said Chewy, trying not to shake. JB took him to the bathroom. Chewy slipped his shoes off, but could not get himself undressed. His hands were shaking too much. Just get in like that, said JB. I'll lend you some clothes.
Are you sure?
He said. Yeah, said JB. Get in, come on. Chewy stepped in the shower and turned the water on. When it was steaming, he gradually worked himself under it. That's marvellous, he said.
Ooh, it's hitting the end of me knob. God, that hurts. I really do have chilblains of the knob. I didn't know that was possible.
JB started to laugh. He had been concerned about him, but now he thought he would be okay. He'd stopped shivering and was beginning to get some pink colouring back. "I'll go and get them clothes," said JB. "Back in a minute."
"Is he going to be okay?" said his wife. "I've never seen anyone that blue."
"I think so," said JB. "They were a bit naughty, really, taking him out that far. Not in his clothes. And when it started snowing, we should have turned back then."
"Did you drop Camo off?"
"No, they're still out there," said JB.
"No,"
she said.
"They're mad."
JB went into the bathroom to drop the clothes off. Chewy was sat in the bath with a relieved face, with the steaming water going over him. JB went to switch off the water.
Not yet,
said Chewy in a desperate voice.
"Just a little longer, please. Please."
"No problem," said JB. "There's a cup of tea waiting for you when you're ready," he said. "Just give us a shout if you need anything. There's a plastic bag there for your wet clothes. I've left you some clothes outside. They're old, so either just keep them or bin them. You don't need to give them me back."
Cheers, thanks,"
said Chewy, looking a bit more like his normal self. 10 minutes later, Chewy came out in JB's clothes, looking funny.
Hello,
he said, shyly.
"Hello,"
said JB's wife, smiling. "You don't look blue anymore."
"No, thank God,"
he said. After he had finished his drink and warmed up even more, JB took him home.
Thanks,
he said, getting out of the car.
It was very enjoyable, all told. I'm glad I went and saw it. Saw it all.
"Would you come again?" said JB.
"No chance, no chance,"
he said, with a genuine look of fear on his face. JB laughed. Chewy ran down the road, hobbling on stiff legs, clutching his plastic bag. "Bloody fell runners," JB said to himself. On Sunday, Camo pulled up outside the hairdresser's, and JB got in.
"Wasn't sure you'd be here,"
said Camo. "Oh, why not?" said JB, pretending not to realise what it was all about.
"Oh, nothing,"
said Camo.
"Just thought you might have forgotten."
JB knew it was over what had happened with Chewy. "I've got nothing to be sorry about," thought JB. They were quieter in the car on the way. At the Cowgirls, Yorkshire and Three Coats arrived soon after them.
"Jam Butty,"
said Three Coats.
"Jam Butty boy,"
nodded Yorkshire. There was an atmosphere.
"I've had enough of this,"
thought JB.
"What's up with you lot?"
he said, challenging them all.
"We thought you were rude last time we were out,"
said Three Coats.
"Rude,"
said Yorkshire. "Is that so?" said JB.
"It is,"
said Three Coats. "Is that what you think too?" said JB, turning to Camo, who was supposed to be his mate. Camo pursed his lips in a non-committal way. "I see," said JB. "I don't mind taking the opposite view. You think you're right, but I know I'm right. It was his first time out. You've forgotten how difficult it was for you when you first started. He didn't have the correct clothes, no food, no drink, and he was turning blue. And you three left him and were off at the front and couldn't even see. You frightened him off. We'll never see him out there again."
"It was you who frightened him off,"
said Camo.
"Anyway, that's besides the point. You told us to go fuck ourselves,"
said Yorkshire.
"Even though that is a physical impossibility, it does not stop it being highly offensive. We are not barbarians, you know. We think you should apologise, said Three Coats.
I wouldn't hold your breath waiting, said JB. I'm quite happy with what I said, and why I said it.
Oh, are you?
Said Three Coats. Yes, I am, said JB. You three were showing off, and he was suffering.
You have to suffer,
said Camo.
Suffer today for tomorrow's progress. How else are you going to get better? You have to push on, push to your limit, over your limit, and suffer.
Suffer,
said Yorkshire.
Suffer,
said Three Coats. All three were staring at him with angry faces. That's not how I see it, said JB.
He was fine,
said Three Coats.
It was only a little snow,
said Yorkshire. He nearly froze to death, for a start, said JB.
That's an exaggeration,
said Yorkshire.
That's your problem,
said Camo.
You're too negative. You're always putting a downer on things. It's not your fault. You're just a worrier, that's all. You could do more, but you're not prepared to push yourself. You're always holding yourself back. You need to push yourself on more.
Right, said JB.
Well, we've been talking about you,
said Camo. Oh, aye, said JB.
Yeah, we need to know if you're committed to doing this or not,
said Camo. Doing what? Said JB.
The Norbert Norbert, of course,
said Yorkshire.
Are you committing to it this year or not? Camo and I are doing it this year, with Three Coats organising the ground crew, and then next year we're going to do the same for him.
JB looked at them, and they all stared at him. What? He said. You want an answer right now? They looked at each other and nodded.
I guess we do,
said Camo. Well, I guess my answer is no then, said JB.
Told ya,
said Three Coats. Camo shook his head.
I really thought you'd go for it. You have a really good pace for it.
I was just taking things at my own pace, said JB. That's all. Letting it build up. And then if I feel I'm ready, I'd try then.
Well,
said Yorkshire.
Now we know. We will have to consider your membership of the club,
said Three Coats.
I think your idea of a 2-tier membership is a good one, Camo,
said Yorkshire.
Tier 1, the competitive members, and Tier 2, the more social members. And Tier 1 should get membership at a discount rate,
said Three Coats.
We'll be the ones bringing in the honours to the club.
Well, this is going to be an awkward trip round.
Here's Melanie,
said Yorkshire.
Her boyfriend must be dropping her off or something. He doesn't normally come.
Hey,
shouted Melanie's boyfriend.
I want a word with you.
Everyone looked around at each other.
Who's he on about?
said Camo.
I don't know,
said Yorkshire.
Who do you want a word with?
He shouted.
That bloody Jam Butty. That's who,
he said, stomping up the street.
Me?
said JB.
Yes, you,
he said, jabbing his finger at him. Melanie came running up behind him. Leave it, she said.
No, I won't. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind, the little sneak,
he said.
Ooh, what have you done?
said Three Coats. Nothing, said JB.
Well, I suppose that's partially true,
said Melanie's boyfriend.
The little cowardly sneak. You won't believe what he's been up to. I found a note, see, and guess what it said?
His notes at the meeting,
said Three Coats to Yorkshire.
Oh yes,
said Yorkshire.
I don't know,
said Camo.
What did it say? It said, get me out of here and I'll show you me tits.
Everyone looked shocked.
You spawny git,
said Camo, looking at JB.
What's that you say?
Said her boyfriend.
Nothing,
said Camo.
No, go on, you did,
he said.
I said he was a spawny git,
said Camo quietly.
A spawny get? What's that?
Said her boyfriend. Said Camo, trying to think of something neutral.
I think it means he's a bit cheeky.
No, it doesn't,
said Three Coats. Camo shot him a look to be quiet.
I am familiar with such phraseology, said Yorkshire. Its literal meaning is to describe someone who has partaken in an activity that should have resulted in a bad outcome, but through some random quirk and twist of fate, they end up with a thoroughly undeserved and strongly positive outcome.
Exactly right,
said Melanie's boyfriend.
Thoroughly undeserved. I made her tell me what it was all about, of course. We're supposed to be off to Lincoln. I don't know whether to clout him or laugh at him.
Leave it, said Melanie. You're embarrassing me, please.
No, these lads need to know who they're going around with, said her boyfriend. Apparently it started on one run. He called her Peaches because she's got a nice bum. Can you believe that?
The three boys shifted guiltily and said nothing.
Anyway, that was just the start of it, he continued. They used to teach each other, saying flirtatious things, and see who chickened out first. Whoever won scored a goal. 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, that sort of thing, until someone chickened out and the other was declared a winner.
We didn't know anything about this, said Yorkshire. We knew they were friendly, but not this.
You didn't even tell me,
said Camo to Jam Butty.
And I'm supposed to be your mate.
JB took a quick look at Melanie. She was breathing hard and shook her head as if to say sorry. She looked small. I'm not going to talk about a lady behind her back, said JB.
Very noble of you, I'm sure, said Melanie's boyfriend. But that's my girlfriend you're talking about.
What did the winner get?
Said Three Coats. Yorkshire and Camo glared at him.
I beg your pardon,
said Melanie's boyfriend. Three Coats was trapped. He looked down at his feet and mumbled. I said, what did the winner get? Sorry.
Oh, you've not even heard the best bit,
he said.
Wait till you hear this.
Don't, said Melanie. Can we leave it now? You've said enough.
Oh, I'm just getting warmed up. I'm hitting my stride now. We haven't had the best part. What happened on the shrimp roundabout? I knew there was something fishy at the time. I knew it.
Yorkshire, Camo and Three Coats looked at each other and then at JB, going over their memories of the shrimp roundabout for something.
On that run, he only comes across her with her pants down. She'd taken a toilet break. She says she had cramp so bad she couldn't get her trolleys up by herself. So guess who just happens to be going past at the time and asked her to help her up with them? What a gentleman, eh?
No.
No,
they all said.
Is that true?
Said Camo to JB. JB stood there and took it. He was a gentleman, said Melanie. I told you, nothing happened.
And that's the crucial thing,
said Melanie's boyfriend with a strange smile on his face.
I truly believe nothing happened. I mean, look at him and look at her.
Yorkshire, Camo and Three Coats uncomfortably took a look from one to the other.
That's the bit that cracks me up,
said Melanie's boyfriend.
Nothing happened. He comes across her with her pants down. Nothing happens. She plays a flirt game with him. Nothing happens. She says she'll flash him her tits, and he does nothing. I thought about hitting him, but I feel sorry for him. I would have had more respect for him if he would have tried it on with her, made a pass at her, but he did nothing. I mean, look at her. She's bloody gorgeous, isn't she?
Yorkshire, Camo and Three Coats nervously glanced at Melanie.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I suppose. What's up with you, man?
Said Melanie's boyfriend, turning direct to JB.
What normal man doesn't respond to that? Are you a coward? Some sort of eunuch or something? What?
Yorkshire, Camo and Three Coats winced. JB stood there and took it.
Ah,
said Melanie's boyfriend.
I finally get it now. That's why she picked him to flirt with. She knew she was safe. He's safe, like a gay best friend. He's...
Melanie's boyfriend searched for just the right insult and then smiled as he found it.
He's nice.
JB just kept his face straight and looked back at him.
Well, aren't you going to say something?
Said Melanie's boyfriend. No, said JB.
You don't deny any of it?
He said. Nope, said JB.
Do you think you owe me an apology?
He said. JB thought a moment. No, he said. Melanie's boyfriend moved closer.
I've still got time to change my mind about hitting you,
he said. Do what you like, said JB.
Why you?
Started Melanie's boyfriend. Melanie stepped forward and grabbed him by the arm and started to pull him away.
That's enough now, she said. You said what you wanted to say. Let's go home.
He let her drag him away while pretending to resist.
Sorry,
she said to JB. Melanie's boyfriend shook her off after a few more steps.
Get in the car,
he said to her. When they were out of earshot, Three Coats said to JB.
Well, someone's been a naughty boy.
Sod off, said JB.
Well, you've got some explaining to do,
said Yorkshire. No, I don't, said JB.
Well,
said Three Coats. JB made a quick decision and started to ignore them all. He checked the comfort of his trainers and his laces and picked up his rucksack, checked his water bottles and put it on.
What you doing?
Said Camo. Running home, said JB.
It's 25 mile,
said Camo. On the flat, so only jump miles, said JB.
Hang about, Melanie is coming back,
said Yorkshire. JB had held his emotions so far, but he felt them wobble as she walked up, looking small, with her arms folded across her chest. I've told him I wanted a last word with you, she said. JB looked at her and did not trust himself to speak. The other three pretended that they were not there while listening to every word. He found the note, so I had to tell him, she said. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It happened so. He let the unfinished sentence hang, unsure of his voice. I regret everything now. All of it. I wish it had never started. Silly peaches, she said. JB looked at her. I don't, he said. Melanie smiled. Right, enjoy Lincoln then, he said. Turned and set off running, and did not look back. He could hear them speaking as he left. What is he doing? Said Melanie.
Running back,
said Yorkshire.
All the way back? How far is it?
Said Melanie.
25 mile.
He's your friend, said Melanie to Camo. Have a word. Stop him. This is all so silly.
He's a grown man,
said Camo.
He's made his choice.